Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly energy update for the week of May 3rd, 2026. I'm Renee Spears, a spirit guide channeler and spiritual mentor, and I'm coming to you from beautiful and sunny Bozeman, Montana. Every Sunday, I share the energy for the week ahead, and I also infuse the show with some positive vibes, so you get a little positive energy boost just for listening. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, or at least the last few months, you know that every single week there's been some sort of big life-changing event happening. So this week we can take a deep breath and relax because we get a little break. The next couple of weeks give us time to stop and smell the roses and be more intentional about how we want to move forward. It has been full speed ahead for months with all the planets direct. And this week the retrogrades slowly start again. Pluto goes retrograde on Wednesday the 6th, but it's the only planet retrograde until the end of June when Mercury goes retrograde and then Neptune at the beginning of July. So Pluto spends almost half the year in retrograde, this is a normal part of its cycle, but when it stations, meaning it stops and changes direction, that is usually the most intense part of the retrograde. So this week, the days before and after the 6th, Pluto slows way down, almost like it's hovering in the sky, and that creates this pressure cooker kind of energy. So Pluto is known as the Lord of the Underworld, and it's connected to transformation, the cycles of death and rebirth, and both inner and outer power. So when Pluto retrogrades this week, the energy shifts from external transformation to internal transformation. So from now through October, when the retrograde ends, all through summer, we're undergoing a massive internal transformation. We're slowly rebuilding from the inside out. And we're doing all the things needed for a fresh start so we can rise from the ashes in a more aligned way. This is a time of recalibration, where who we are internally is finally catching up with all the external changes. So the energy right now, both astrologically and numerologically, is pushing us to finally move forward on the things we've been thinking about for months, maybe even years. You know, that thing that just won't leave you alone, that thing that you know is your next step, but you just haven't taken it yet. I mean, that could be starting a business, leaving a relationship, or taking care of something with your health. It can also be the smaller things, maybe getting some paperwork done or taking your car in for service or, getting a mammogram. So part of the healing and rebuilding we're doing is to take care of that stuff that's been on our minds, sucking our energy. And the first part of this is actually acknowledging these things to yourself, acknowledging that you really do want a relationship or that you really do need to take care of something with your health. And then it's time to finally move forward and finally do the thing. This is one of those moments when the universe is asking, are you in or are you out? Shit or get off the pot. So what makes this particular retrograde especially powerful is that Pluto is still in the very early in Aquarius. We're in the very, very beginning stages of a much bigger 20-year cycle. And this is one of the first times since all of these big astrological changes have happened that we actually get a chance to do some internal recalibration. Things have been moving pretty fast. And now we get a chance to take a minute, reassess, and figure out who we are now. And we have months to do this recalibration because Pluto moves so slowly. It will be moving over the early degrees of Aquarius between 3 and 5 degrees for the next 5 months. So in astrology, the early degrees of a sign, especially 0 to 5 degrees, are considered initiation degrees when we are stepping into completely new territory. These degrees have the feeling of, we've never done this way before. And this can feel exciting, but also a little scary and unsettling. And man, Pluto is working those degrees. And this is when we start to get some hints about what we can expect for the next 20 years of this cycle. We're laying the groundwork for the future without really knowing where we're going yet. On a collective level, this is when we start to see changes in things like technology and power structures shifting from, power at the top to power to the collective. And then really things changing in our societies. On a personal level, these degrees help us figure out where we belong. The groups we belong to are changing. Like you may not fit where you did before. You may feel like you don't know where you do belong right now. And that's because not only are you changing, but so is everybody else. Like our friends, our family, our coworkers, we're all changing. There's this feeling of not knowing where you do belong yet. And that in-between space is very 3 to 5 degrees Aquarius. It's the bridge between the old paradigm and the new one that just hasn't fully arrived yet. There's also an intellectual awakening happening. Aquarius is an air sign, so Pluto moving through these degrees can bring shifts in perspective. We'll have some sudden insights, some aha moments, and start to see things more clearly. We basically stop drinking the Kool-Aid and call BS on some things. So you may find yourself questioning things you once accepted as true. And of course, with Uranus and Gemini now, this amplifies this energy even more. So all this revisiting, rethinking, and refining of who we are is part of a longer process of transformation that continues over the next couple of years as Pluto moves back and forth through these early Aquarius degrees. So the simplest way I think to think about this is this. These degrees are where the future is being introduced, but it's not fully formed yet. Our new identities are being born, and Pluto Retrograde asks us to go inward and make sure our soul is directing this transformation, not our ego. So it's time to show up fully for your life, like no more playing small. Take your life seriously, and any effort you put in now will pay off in a big way down the road. We do get some help this week with motivation when Mars squares Jupiter. And this transit brings energy to help us start new things and get things done and get things moving. And this is a lot of energy. And we could feel overwhelmed by all the things that we feel like we need to do. There could be a tendency with this transit to burn out too. So Mars can sometimes make us feel a little heated and irritable. And Jupiter, of course, magnifies these. So be really mindful of this so you don't blow up at somebody. And then just knowing this, you might want to add some things to help you stay balanced, maybe more exercise or meditation or time by yourself. So over the next couple of weeks, give yourself permission to slow down a little bit. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to be willing to be honest with yourself. Like, what are you done avoiding? What are you ready to commit to? You don't have to do everything all at once, but you do want to start. So use this energy to get clear and start moving forward. And remember, if things feel a little uncertain or in between right now, that's actually part of the process. You're not behind, you're not doing it wrong, you're just in a transition. So let yourself be in it. So Spiritual Spring Saturdays continues this week with beginning mediumship with my friend, the medium Amy Landa. So Amy will guide us through the basic steps of receiving and interpreting messages from Spirit. So I'm really looking forward to this. And that is on Saturday the 9th. And then on the following Saturday, the 16th, I'm teaching Summer of Money, which could also be called Summer of Abundance, which is all about making this summer fun. Like full of love and laughter and adventure and fun and money. So each class is only $40 and you can register at the link in the show notes or on my website, Abundology.com. And if one of the things you've been wanting to do is start a new business or make changes to your existing business, I'm doing a lot of spiritual business mentoring right now. You can come for just a 1-hour business alignment session for only $150, or my 3-month mentorship is only $1,200. So once again, link in the show notes or go to my website, Abundology. I have to say, I'm actually really excited about this retrograde to give me some time to, figure out who I am and what the hell am I doing with my life again? So as always, thank you for listening, liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast with your friends. It is a glorious day here in Bozeman, Montana. So I recorded this podcast a little early because I'm taking the day off to go to Paradise Valley for some hiking, soaking in some hot springs and some barbecue. So have a great week, everyone. I'll talk to you again next week.